Title of this episode has to be the on-ramp, what with our training kicking in, but we are doing it during the most energy-sapping couple of weather weeks of the season. I think of this season going back a few years. Has it been a chore sometimes for you too to even get up and shake it out? We both know this is absolute bullshit, right? I mean, assuming that you've got a phone on which you can listen to this podcast and are doing it underneath a roof and with a couple of windows, we got to remember what the great band said. I've done it before, and I can do it some more. First person to name that band and the song I was quoting from gets a prize, and it's a good one, too. Comment on the Pushing 100 podcast YouTube channel if you know. Welcome. I'm Adam 12. Radio rat, podcaster, ultra runner, beer drinker. If you listen to me on the radio or my last podcast, Pushing 50, welcome back. If you came here from the former, that's good. We are going to rock. From the latter, that's great. We're still going to help each other do more stuff while taking less crap. We're just going to have more fun with it this time. You can do it some more and better than before, just not necessarily at this moment. But you got to get moving right now, or you're going to have more trouble getting back there. It's something that affects most people who've hit a big workout goal, regardless of age, but then, for whatever reason, they've fallen off their training. It's the irresistible force of your having done it, meeting the immovable object of you at this particular weather-related moment. Doesn't matter the size of the goal achieved either. Plenty of 100-mile runners think they can jump into another 100-mile race with inadequate training because they know how to do it. Then they either don't finish or they get hurt. And then they don't finish for 3, 4, 5 more months. What was it in Million Dollar Baby that Morgan Freeman's character mentioned that Clint Eastwood's character had said? Show me a fighter who's all heart, and I'll show you someone about to get his ass kicked. It's true. In running, for instance, there's no substitute for time on your feet. So for now, running or otherwise, forget about not being able to either set records or re-achieve the same goals. Just get out there. You can think about that other stuff 3, 4 weeks down the line. The station is where the station is. They didn't move the finish line between now and the last time you were there. Just plan on it taking, well, we're between the ages of 50 and 100, ostensibly, if you're listening to this show. So it could very well take at least as long to get there as you did the last time. And that's okay. Smart science people have concluded that the age at which most people finally start taking their health seriously is 38. Sounds about right to me. In fact, I'd put money down that it's a night of too much drinking, followed by a dive through the back of your closet to find that tub of big box store-bought cheese balls you'd forgotten about was the catalyst for such a life change. This is semi-autobiographical right here. You're not quite old, you're just too old for that kind of crap. Now, this is a study of British people, full disclosure, but really their health habits have become so Americanized, I'll venture it applies on these shores as well. Quoting the article from Study Finds here, which is where I found this, following the announcement that King Charles is undergoing treatment for an enlarged prostate, the UK National Health Service's webpage about the condition received 11 times more visits than it did the previous day, resulting in one person visiting the site every 5 seconds. Why not? That gets the prostate check mention out of the way. I was hoping to do that in the first 5 episodes. You can't have a podcast geared towards people 50 and older without touching on that at least once. Hopefully just once. And should we knock out the colonoscopy discussion while we're on the obvious train? And get one. Or maybe a little more detail. These days, it mainly involves drinking a shitload of water. You don't have to drink nearly so much of that liquid prep stuff as was the case even a decade ago. And it tastes a lot better than it used to. You can actually get a decent night's sleep the night before the procedure. You're not going to be starving. Day of, it's going to be over before you know it, and you can eat right afterwards. You're actually going to want to eat right afterwards if my experience and those I know who've had it done is anything to go by. And day after that, you can get back to work without thinking you should have brought a diaper with you. And yes, there are other tests that avoid even these minor annoyances, but they're only about 80% effective, so it's not a place to be taking shortcuts, the colonoscopy. You'd be kicking yourself in your unexamined, properly posterior. And get this stuff done before the year really kicks in, man. We get into spring, you're going to be too damn busy. Though I can understand if you want to wait until after Valentine's Day, though. So, speaking of spring, got a great spring getaway for you and your Valentine. Healthy one, too. Leatherwood. in lovely Ferguson, North Carolina, bud. The mountains in the springtime. Fantastic accommodations, amazing scenery, rugged trails, and friendly horsies. It's 3 hours from Raleigh, 2 hours from Charlotte, 45 minutes from Boone and Blowing Rock if you want to make a week out of it. It's close to everything while not really being on the map. Richard, Dirty Wolf Racing's head wolf in charge, rediscovered this place. They'd had trail races out there years ago, and now that both time and management have evolved, the hills are coming alive once again. Course is a rolling loop. You can do it 1, 2, or 4 times for 7.5 miles, 25 kilometers, or 50 kilometers. Price on both the 7.5 mile and 25K version has been lowered. It's challenging, but not brutal. So a great way to dip a toe into trail running if you've been hearing about it, dying to try it, and you can get away for the weekend. The houses available for rent there are astonishing, and not just for the views, which are something closer to unreal than astonishing. So check it out, man. Leatherwood from Dirty Wolf Racing, Saturday, April 13th. You'll find all the details at Dirty Wolf Racing on Facebook and Instagram. Believe the most important thing about ramping up your training, regardless of your goals, is committing to doing it one more day per week than you know for certain that you can manage. If you, to quote here, think I can do it, let's say 3 days a week, push yourself to do it on 4. Skip right past, I'm pretty sure I can do it, however many more days per week it seems to be doable, and lock it into your calendar. This is where so many other shows will recommend classes or a personal trainer, and not that those things don't have merit, I just don't think they foster the proper accountability. Okay, you're initially probably more likely to do something healthy if you're in a group and or paying for it, but ultimately those people can't run the race for you. I'm not trying to scare you, but when the big day comes, you are alone. Even if at a particular race you're with hundreds or even thousands of people, you're going to feel alone at some point. And if you've set up and executed the training by yourself, you're going to have a much easier time handling those moments. I would just rather finish thinking I could have done more. I don't want to be exhausted to the point where I never want to do it again. And with proper training by yourself, I'm pretty certain you'll get to that state of mind. When I hear someone say, if I'm not with someone else, I'll never do it, that's a big problem. It's a problem for your outlook as you age, maybe the big problem. A meetup can be a great solution to that. A lot of my trail runs involve meeting friends in a parking lot. Just do a couple of warm-up miles, talk for a bit, and then it's okay, see you later. We go our separate speeds. I might not even see them at the end. Now, I'm not sure what that looks like if you're not a runner. Please enlighten me in the comments. I do know that when I go to the gym with Mrs. 12, that's not really the time we spend together. Even if we're both doing the same kind of workouts, like say weights, especially this time of the year with the gym being packed, we can't count on gluing ourselves to each other and just going down the line of machines. And we don't stand around talking while waiting for machines, because that's a total waste of time. By the way, anyone who this time of the year is yakking with their friend with their arm around a machine that they're not using, or God help them, sitting on the machine staring at their phone between sets, doesn't that drive you nuts? They should be thrown out of the place. That's not actually going to happen, especially not at the Y where I happen to go. Not a very Christ-like thing to do. But what can be done is if you see that's something, in a friendly way, say that's something. If that doesn't work, the benches on weight machines are going to have to be freaking electrified, man. Like whenever it detects a static ass, said ass ought to get zapped. Am I right? This is Pushing 100. I'm Adam 12. Let's get to that work. On Facebook, it's Pushing 100 Podcast. On Instagram, it's Adam 12 Sweat Hog. Thank you for listening. Hear you again real soon.